part of the conversation. No one's going to growl at you. Well, I might growl at you, but you know.
I won't.
All right. So set up camera. Sees both of us.
Oh, geez.
That camera's pointed at you. This camera's pointed at me. Has a little tally light. So that means that that's the camera that's live at that point in time.
Okay.
And then as he rotates through the cameras, you'll see the different lights hit. We're going to have a conversation.
I love it.
At the end of that conversation, okay, you got to pull me up just a little bit more. Whoa. Back down. There we go, right there. And then when you need to drill down a point, you look into the camera. So just like this guy's doing right now. Hi, camera. Hi, audience. How you doing? My name's Nick, and today I have oh, man. Let's see if I get this title correct. The North Texas Realtor of the Year, Travis Hitt.
I'll take it.
Welcome, Travis Hitt.
Afternoon.
Welcome. Thank you for joining me here at the podcast studio. It's an absolute honor to have you.
Honored to be here.
John, you're going to need to mute the computer because I can hear it. Man, I sound good. Nice. There we go. So you came flying in the door.
Yeah, literally.
Literally flying in the door. And the first thing you tell me is you cracked open your head.
Yeah, yesterday. Yeah. So that's why I'm in the hat.
You're in the hat. Well, the hat looks good.
Thank you.
That looks
team
good.
hat, so it works.
Right. So how did you crack your head?
Yeah, so we were putting out signs for Rod Vilhauer. It's running for mayor of Frisco.
Correct.
Me and a buddy, Cody, volunteered to go put out the big signs that say vote for Rod. And I was using the post tamper, and it just got caught on the T-post. And as I was coming down, it came down on my head instead. Yep, just cracked it open, blood everywhere. It's a good day.
But you had a cop with you.
I did have somebody with me. Yeah, the cobster.
Yeah,
So he took care of me.
good. Yeah,
Took care of me.
At least you had someone that actually understands.
In case I couldn't drive, but I'm glad he was there. But I'm fine, thankfully.
But yes, we're all thankful that you're good. It might be a little mental damage later on, but for now we're good.
We'll work through it.
So, Travis, we have known each other for
26 years.
Oh, wow. I was going to say like 20 plus. And he's like, no, this is it. 26 years. Wow, that year.
His brother reminds me because he's my best friend of 26 years. So.
Oh,
yeah.
There we go.
Same
Wins. So back in the day, junior high, I'd pick you guys up from, pick you guys up at school. But
after football on the T-tops.
There you go. That's it. So reminiscent of days long gone, how that area has changed and not for the better. But that's okay. We're not going to talk about it. Today we're going to talk about what's going on in your world, specifically what's going on in the real estate market in North Texas, because there's a lot of people talking. Mm-hmm. And what I'm very, very quickly learning, a lot of people are talking out of pure and absolute ignorance.
Facts.
Right?
I'll leave it at that.
It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I get it. I hear you. I hear that you think that you're the expert in it, but absolutely in no way are you. Because what you did is you did a 30-second Google search to come up with whatever you think is correct, whereas you live this world. You are in this world.
Yeah.
So go ahead and share with the audience about who you are, what you do, and then we're going to start talking about what's going on over here in the North Texas area.
Absolutely. Thanks for introducing me as well. But like Nick said, Travis Hitt, I'm part of the Bray Real Estate Group, and then I run a team of 5 agents called the Hitt Group. Been doing real estate here in the North Texas area I'm on my 13th year now. So I'm kind of an old head, which is weird. But love it, eat, sleep, and breathe it. I love, like you were saying, there's so many things out there that people are just Googling or they're hearing from their friend that's hearsay. I'm very big on studying. I didn't like to study in school, but I catch myself constantly studying the market, studying the trends, studying what's going on to know about it before it happens. But yeah, I've been running the team here now for 3 years. We actually office right across the street from Nick. I don't know which one we're at right here. And then let's see here. I've gotten some great accolades, but I really just like to work and help people and serve people the best I can and study real estate.
There you go. So, I mean, it's funny you say it that way because I didn't like studying in the past, but I like studying this. Like you found a niche that you enjoy.
Correct.
And you really do make sure that you're the expert at the top of your game.
Thank you.
Like, I get the emails, I see the post, I even get the letters in the mail.
Yeah.
You know, I actually start taking more photos with those. It's Travis.
Feel free.
So tell me, between Universal Studios, the PGA, the ups and downs in the interest rates, what is your prediction for 2026? And please understand, when I say North Texas, I mean north of 380. Right. North of 380, south of Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. What you got?
And it's funny, every time people ask me about that, you said exactly what everybody does. The PGA, Universal, but a lot of people aren't even talking about, because most aren't even aware of the other things that are coming. Like, I'm most excited about Firefly, the development Firefly.
I don't even know what this is.
Exactly. They're starting to put more and more out there, but they're already turning dirt. They just secured their first tenant. It's Tyler's, which is an active wear type of company. But the Firefly is going to be a really, really cool development, in my opinion, because it's bringing out, for one of the first times, a lot of out of our country developments. So a lot of European developers and things like that. So it's going to have a completely different feel than what we're used to here with the PGA, with Legacy West, with the Star, because of the type of developers are taking concepts from European countries and they're bringing it here. So a lot more walkability next to water, a lot more outside experiences, even if it's raining. So it's going to be a super cool development. And it's right here in what I call the triple hub of the Firefly, PGA, Universal, and then there's also another one called the Design District that's going right next to Star Trail that most people don't even know about. It's going to be another development, kind of like the Star, Legacy West. So just within less than a mile radius, you're going to have the Design District, Firefly, and PGA, and Universal. So that is, I have always, and I've said this to you for years, that Texas has always been an undervalued real estate market. And I say that not based on residential values or residential sales and leases. It's all about the commercial. If you look at the major metropolitan areas around the country, you know, your LA, your Scottsdale, your New York, parts of Florida, they have things that people pay to go do and see. We here in Texas have never been the big entertainment state. A lot of people traveled here to see their family. They didn't come here to go to the nicest restaurants, to go shopping, to have a weekend out, where now that has completely changed ever since COVID. So we're getting a lot more developments here now on the commercial side, a lot more restaurants. We have more restaurants per capita than New York now. A lot of people don't know that. So a lot of your fancy places and fancy developers, they have stopped looking at other areas, and a lot of those have focused on Texas now. So now that we have the shopping, the restaurants, the entertainment, the stuff people will pay to do, that's what's bringing a lot of people here, as well as our values are changing. So we're no longer an undervalued real estate market. We're starting to catch up to the other major metropolitan areas. So continued growth.
So you have all that, right? And then you have what they're talking about, you know, like moving the entire financial sector over here as well. And the amount of businesses, I mean, New York, you know, whether New York has really just kind of, you know, kneecapped themselves. And those businesses, like you just said, they're moving here.
Yeah.
Like DFW is set to become the new financial hub.
Goldman Sachs, they're opening their first or second, but first headquarters outside of New York. And so we're going to have our own financial district, kind of like Wall Street. And
goodness.
Texas, we're going to have our own platforms for investing instead of just the stock market. So Goldman Sachs is completely changing a lot of that. They're kind of the front runners of that financial change.
Imagine where we're going to be 10 years from now.
I don't want to.
I don't want to. Because and the big part of it, it's like, oh, it's moving so slow. But when you look back you know, wow, that 6 months just flew.
Right.
Wow, that new building wasn't there a year ago.
Yeah.
Right. Like Right since they opened up 380, where they have all the overpasses,
Yeah.
like, oh my goodness, watch traffic flow again.
Now we can say they have the overpasses when for years we've been like, when are they coming?
Right.
Yeah, and it feels like that happened fast.
So fast now. And, you know, when you look at now, I mean, here's the thing, though. I don't think, and this is Nick's personal opinion, I don't think Collin County and Denton County were ready for the growth that they are experiencing.
Yeah, I mean, that's an easy, you have a great opinion on that, but that's very factual, and you can simply tell if an area is ready based off the roads. And, you know, we grew up locally here, and I can tell you they weren't ready just because of the roads. So now they're having to change to go with the growth rather than anticipate and plan for that growth, because the growth just happened. You know, nobody really expected for COVID to do what it would do to our market. Nobody. And with that, they had to adjust and change rather than plan to change.
Okay. So elaborate how COVID plays into all this.
Yeah. So COVID was really, I'm not going to say the only reason, but a major defining time and reason for a lot of our growth, because a lot of people in California and New York and even parts of Arizona, Chicago, they were very trapped, where they get on social media and they see us Texans, we're still grilling outside. We're hanging out with our family. There's certain businesses still open. They didn't have that. And so that drove the initial wave of people relocating to Texas to get away from the trap that they were in. And so once that happened, because once you have, I mean, it's like any commercial business, they do one thing typically before they decide to buy a piece of land. They do a traffic count. How many cars are driving by this location every single minute to decide if we want to go there or not? Well, once you have so many people coming here, then developers are like, okay, we need more houses. Well, we need restaurants. Well, we need this. And then it just spins and takes off. But COVID was a big proponent of why a lot of people came here. That started it.
I did not know that. I did not know that. I'm sitting here going, because I know that Florida had explosive growth during COVID, but I never thought that, hey, people were hopping on social media and going, oh, I'm locked down in my house. I can't do anything. My kids can't even play with other kids. Well, Texas is open.
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, I remember.
Let's go there.
I had somebody that, and I don't have a ton of followers on Instagram, but somebody that lived out of state.
He's being very modest right now.
Messaged me, and they said, you can still have barbecues? Like that, I remember that explicitly, getting asked about that. And I said, yeah, we're still hanging out. We're still working. And, you know, a lot of our businesses are open. Things have changed, but I didn't feel trapped like some counties and some states that they were truly in trouble if they tried to go out of their residence. We weren't like that. So everybody, that's why the COVID real estate market blew up, and we had 40, 50, 60 offers on homes, 100 people come through open houses. Everybody wanted to escape where they were at and come here. Yep. Or Florida. There's a couple states.
If you're watching this right now and you're in the real estate game, that would be the case study I would do. I would do that exact case study. I would go back now that we have all the data, now that everything's, you know, measured, and go back. I mean, he just dropped like 100. You literally said 100 showings. That's not what you said.
To be exact, it was 118 people came through one house in Carrollton I had on a 2-day period.
118.
Yeah, 47 offers the day after. That was my largest one, and that's not. I've heard of even more insane stories from listing agents with certain properties. But yeah, that's why I feel like as well we had explosive growth in. I'll try to be a little sensitive. Realtor licenses. A lot of people got their real estate license. Is because it was so easy during COVID. It truly was, and I can stand here 13 years in and say that was the easiest time ever to sell a house.
Really?
It was very competitive and tough to buy because there were so many people buying. But I'm very listing heavy, and you could put a house on the market and you know it's going to be gone quick. You didn't have to do any repairs. You barely had to put a sign in the yard. They were gone because people were just buying to get here. And that's why I think we're seeing an inventory increase as well now, because a lot of people that escaped their trap and they got here, they weren't buying their forever home. They weren't even really buying a home that they would choose if they had a month to search. They were buying for an address. They were buying to get out of where they were and getting here to be able to still live life. Now they're a couple years in and they're like, hey, we love Texas. Let's get the house we actually want. So they're selling their properties and buying something with a bigger yard. or a 2-story, or now they've figured out what they want and they bought that original property just to get here.
I remember selling my house during those years, and you were my real estate agent in that transaction, right? And I didn't think of it that way now, but now what you're seeing now, according to what just kind of, I'm going to nick-a-phrase it.
I like that.
You're seeing people that they bought because they just wanted the address here, and now they're like, ooh, I really like it here, but I now know I like that school district over this school district, or I like living in that neighborhood versus this neighborhood. Yeah. So let's go ahead and list, sell, and let's get into the neighborhood I want to get into.
Right. And I'm not saying everybody bought for the address, but they bought to get here to Texas.
Yeah.
But the market was so competitive that if you were picky or you wanted to wait to find exactly what you wanted, you're going to keep waiting, really. In all honesty, there for about at least a 9-month period where it was just absolutely insane. But yeah, most people, I mean, I have multiple clients that bought at that time frame, and they didn't buy their perfect home. They bought what they liked and what was suitable to them, but what they could afford and what they could get while they were here.
Man, isn't it interesting how whether you believed in COVID or not, the absolute leadership that you had dictated whether or not you were in mass exodus, right? Everyone's leaving, everyone's values are dropping, or you were already in the right location and your house value, and then if you were like me and you sold your house, the amount of profit you were able to make was extreme. Right.
And nobody really knew it.
No, we didn't. No. We didn't. We were just like, I say, Travis, I want to list my house. He goes, where are you moving? I told him where I'm moving. He's like, all right, let's do it.
And you got it in a great time. Because our neighborhood, we live in the same neighborhood. There for a time, every single builder that was there had a list of 200 names of get in line.
Get in line.
As soon as we have something available, then we'll talk to you. But a lot of them started doing like not a rally,
raffle,
a lottery.
Yeah, lottery.
Sale,
yep.
Which a lot of people didn't like, but there was just so many people that wanted a house that there had to be a list because they couldn't keep up.
Supply and demand.
That's
it.
Yep.
So that is a great, again, just another great case study of just what happened during COVID.
Yeah.
We just got done going through 2025.
Yeah.
And as someone who's also an investor, holy wow. That was just an absolute roller coaster of, Lord, please let this stay in 2025. I don't want it to go into 2026. Let's just leave it there. And let's just start 2026 in a brand new direction. Please.
It's my livelihood. Yeah.
Right.
It was a tough 2 years, 24 and 25.
Really? Yeah. Why?
I mean, one was obviously you had COVID and a ton of people bought, and then you had super, super low interest rates. Nobody wants to get out of that. And then the market, it has to correct. I tell people maybe it's the way my brain, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but there's certain things I just understand. When you have a market that shoots up, it's not sustainable to stay there. So it has to correct. Well, when interest rates skyrocketed to over 7%, that halts buyers simply based on affordability. All the pricing went up for a while. I didn't get an increase in my pay. You didn't pay me 5% instead of 3%. Most people didn't get bonuses at their jobs just because, COVID was over. And so affordability reduced with the higher interest rates, but people couldn't afford it. And so it just halts and nobody was buying. And then you get people that don't really want to sell because they don't want to leave their 2% interest rate. And I don't blame them. So it really, 2024 was like not pumping the brakes. I mean, it really was, to a realtor that's done it for a long time, it was slamming on the brakes when it came to actual production and business. So it hurt a lot of people that are in the industry, brand new agents and things like that. It was a struggle bus for a long time for people.
It was a period of testing,
Oh,
right?
Absolutely.
Like you watched all these people get their real estate license, and then they all lost their real estate license. They all just let it go.
40% didn't re-sign in 2025. Wow. Yeah.
40%.
Yeah. Well, they had realized they have to work. Like, we don't get to make money by not working. It's like any other job. You have to put your skill into it and effort and work. You can't just show up and make a bunch of money. Yeah.
It's interesting because how many people think that about real estate? Like, oh, like my realtor is going to show me a couple of houses and they're going to get 3%, and they showed me a house.
Yeah.
If you think that, I had an HR person in this office just a little bit ago, and he was talking about HR, and I said, the very second you think someone's job is easy, that is the very moment you know nothing about their job.
Right.
There's nothing easy about marketing. There's nothing easy about HR. There's nothing easy about taxes. There's nothing easy about real estate.
Yeah.
There's a reason why it takes an absolute community to move everybody forward.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not, I mean, I think a lot of the shows don't help the outlook that people have on us, just driving flashy cars and going to expensive dinners with their friends all the time. But they're also not showing everything. It has to be intriguing to watch to be on TV, right? If you put a realtor's real job on TV, most people are going to get bored because it's a lot of reading and searching and scrolling and calls, not the glamorous, fun stuff. I love what I do because I love going to show properties. I do love going to those dinners. I had a great lunch with a client earlier and then drove 110 miles an hour in his car to get back here. So there's a lot
Thank you for that, driver. Yeah. Thank you for that.
There's a lot of exciting stuff as well, but they're not showing the backbone of what people in real estate really do, as well as the income, because there's a lot of expenses, especially in a down market, if you want to stay visible among the masses of realtors that we have. So yeah, you may make 3%, but that's not including the fees that you have, your broker fees, your taxes, and all of that. Also, the hours. Are you an easy client that you show one house to? Or did you cost me $800 in gas and hours of time that I'm not making any more money? So when you break it down to what you make per hour, some clients cost us a lot of money, even though they found their dream home.
Correct.
Yeah, that's if you budget well, if you know all the expenses. So it's a smoke and mirrors thing.
Well, you want to? I would shift that a little bit. I don't think it's smoke and mirrors. I think it's the intrigue, right? Like when you go watch a movie and you see special forces operating, and you're like, oh, look at that! So that's so great how they do what they did and cleared a building and all that other stuff. What you didn't see is the years of training it took for them to be that incredible unit, right?
Right.
Same thing with the real estate. You get to see the highlights. You get to see the nice vehicles or the lifestyle. Yeah. You don't see the behind the scenes in front of that computer negotiating with questionable ethical real estate professionals.
Yeah, I like how you put that. That's good.
This is being live. I figured I'd be more, honorable than my normal terminology that I would use for that kind of individual. But there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I'm probably one of your favorite clients.
Well, and you're one of my favorite people, so it's easy.
There we go, right? And here's why. I like finding the houses. I nerd out on that. And when I find the house, I say, Travis, I don't care what the fee is. I need you to read the contract. I need you to do the negotiating. All the things that I don't love to do. That is why you are the family realtor, right?
You take away what I like to do as well, because I'm the agent that likes to actually search, not have a client just hand you a property, because I don't feel like I earn my money in that case. Different. You're a little different. But yeah, there's a lot of agents that they love clients like you, because there's so much technology out there now that I'm not going to say it makes our job easier, but it makes allows for more opportunity for buyers now to find what they like. There's technology. They can go search constantly, but are you working with a kind of agent that is also sending properties, searching, or are they sitting back waiting until you find the property and then you send it to me, and we go look at it and write the contract.
Right.
Very two different types of agents there.
Yes. But, and please hear me, audience, it's that contract. It's the negotiation skills. Like
protection.
Oh, man. Like having a realtor with experience that has read that contract hundreds upon thousands of times. And I remember we were selling one of our properties, and you were like, hey, they just tried to squeeze this in. I got it. Yeah. I got it. Like, don't even, I'm not going to send this to you. I remember this. He's like, I'm not even going to send this contract to you. I'm just going to call the other agent because this isn't even a thing.
Yeah, and I tell people it's just like any career. Like the longer you've done it and experienced it, you know the things to look for. You have knowledge in the papers that you're reading. A Texas contract is one of the simplest contracts out there if you don't know what you're doing. And it's very simple because there's very few places to actually fill in. A lot of it is standard practice and a lot of verbiage written by promulgated lawyers they write the promulgated contracts. But if you don't know all the verbiage in there, then it really manipulates and factors into the places that you can dictate things.
Correct.
So there's so many different ways to manipulate a seller's net value or the cost to a buyer just by those sections. So you have to learn, be good at, and diligent because every situation is very different.
And what you don't do is you don't think, oh, great, I got the contract. I'm going to upload it into Gemini or ChatGPT, and it's going to do it for me.
No.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Funny story. So we got an email from a client, and they're like, hey, I think we need to adjust our marketing practice and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I looked at it and I said, I know that client. That client didn't write that email. ChatGPT wrote that email, right? So my analyst, I'm like, hey, before you do anything, go throw it into Gemini and see what Gemini says.
Yeah.
And Gemini, if you don't know anything about AI, Gemini is the most positive, all that looks so great. The most I'm going to say yes, but give you little hints than any of the other AIs.
Okay.
Right? Both AIs are completely wrong. If you don't have an expert looking at the data, if you don't have an expert looking at the contract, AI is not there. What you call AI is just a script. You have to fully understand that. You still need the human in the middle. You still need the human in the process. So, I mean, goodness gracious, what was it? There was an attorney who tried to use AI in their case.
Oh, really?
And in the middle of their case, the judge was like, like questioning things, right?
Yeah.
Called a session. Everything the AI had built was completely fabricated.
Oh, wow.
They lost the case, and he lost his job because he tried to have ChatGPT write it for him.
The easy way out.
Oh, you can't
I
do
use ChatGPT in real estate. Don't get me wrong. It's wonderful, but you can't take the human out of contracts. You can't take the human out of negotiations and situational aspects of it that a computer just can't. They don't know the emotions of where you're at or how things are working in the process. I can throw it in there and it'll give me an answer. But that's the big thing with real estate that I'm not worried about AI really taking over is it's the human aspect of the emotional side because we don't just do contracts. I mean, there's so many memes and jokes about it, but we're psychologists, psychiatrists, we're your best friend, we're the person you hate. We are everything. And that's really why I think people say agents make too much money sometimes, but if they could stand beside me in a long process of somebody buying or selling, a lot of people don't understand and know what we go through, nor should they. I don't ever tell my clients everything we go through. I chose it. But we deal with a lot more than just contracts and writing an offer and negotiating. It's the personable side, the emotional side that a lot of people get mad over $200 because they were told that the thing that they love deeply for 30 years is ugly. And they get offended. And then we have to work through that not to crash a deal.
Wow.
So that's the hardest part, in my opinion. And I think that's the biggest thing that I tell everybody, if you're thinking about being a realtor, get your license. It's not extremely difficult to do, but you'll quickly find out if one, you're made for it, and two, you enjoy that aspect. Because it's not always glamorous and compliments. And we deal with a lot of the negative stuff too, because I tell my clients, take your anger out on me. Like, I won't get offended. You're going through an emotional time and process. But I have to be able to endure that, right? Without being like, oh, Nick, quit being like this to me. It's not my fault. And go cry in a corner. No, I know it's an emotional time, and I want you to be yourself with me rather than taking it outside. So that's a lot of it.
I'm going to ask you kind of a loaded question here. You ready?
Loaded.
Could you have done that 10 years ago?
I was not near as good at it 10 years ago.
Would you say that dealing with, standing with people processing through that has helped?
Absolutely.
what if you had to say either an individual or a book that really shifted your mindset in walking through some of that emotional turmoil, who would that person be, and or what would that book be that was like, oh.
So person's pretty easy for me. That's Pastor Keith Craft. He's the pastor of our church.
Correct.
It's not a plug for our church, but he completely rewired my thinking and the way that I received things and the way I would process it. And I learned that I was wrong in the way that I handled a lot of things. As well as Tony Robbins helped a lot. I went to a conference. I was not a believer in those rah, stand up on your chair and jump. I was so awkward day one, looking at a bunch of idiots just jumping up and down. I was that idiot on day 4. And I walked the coals, and he really helped me grow strongly in that aspect as well. It's just learning how to process things differently and endure through those things. There's a couple really great books that I read early on that really helped me, and you have to put me on the spot. Dale Carnegie was a big author that I've read a lot.
How to Make Friends and Influence People.
Yep. So really, it's hard to pinpoint one because I can say certain authors like Dale, all of his books, there's something in them that really influenced me or helped me. But I'd say Pastor Keith Craft because of his business mindset and his emotional strength that he has really helped me be able to endure that more.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. There's a when it comes to that emotional side, understanding that it's not you.
Yeah, that's hard.
When someone loses their temper about something that maybe somehow you're involved in, 99% of the time it has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
There's something over here and they don't know it, but somehow that was the trigger or that was the release, and they don't even know.
Right. Well, and I think I tell all the guys I work with, I think it happens, a big proponent of it is because we're the ones delivering what they don't want to hear. Now, I'm doing my job in representation and passing along information, but the negative that hits their brain is coming out of my mouth.
Interesting.
So I think a lot of times people will automatically react, and who are they putting their grief to, or their anger, or their frustration? The person that delivered them bad news a lot of times. So I had to learn to be unoffendable and let things roll off my back and know, hey, I'm doing what you're hopefully going to pay me to do, which is negotiate. And real estate is a lot different because it is a product. And everybody says, oh, well, you're selling a product. You're selling a product. Yeah, but we're selling a product that you had your first child in, that you experienced your first this in, that you got your first bonus check and you're able to put those built-in cabinets in. Then when somebody comes in and says they would never, ever in their life do that, or it's ugly as all get out, that emotionally triggers people sometimes. Or they think they want to sell until they go look at their kid's room again, that transitioned from their bed to their first kid bed in their bedroom years ago. Well, now it becomes very difficult, and anything somebody says becomes personal. So it's a lot of strategy in that and understanding, because it is a product, but it's a product we live in, we argue in, we love in, and we live our life in. So it's very different than just a product.
I'm so glad I don't do what you do. Like you just going like, wow. Like for me, it's just a house is a house. But like for Amber, like, no, like she remembers those little things.
Oh,
she remembers our first house and, London's first bedroom and all those things. And then our second house and Isla and now our third house and so on, right? Like she knows all that. For me, it's like, oh, great, it's a house. Yay.
Move to the next one. Yes. I got in trouble by my wife when we sold our first house because I sold her coffee table, little round, for $10 when she was in the shower and she didn't get to say bye to it. Sorry, everybody. She's very emotional with stuff. But that was kind of when I realized to a point of, I may not care because I'm excited to go to the better place, but a lot of people are connected with the firsts or the experiences they have. And we're basically telling them to get rid of it, or we're helping them move past it, when you have to work through that.
And they have to be willing to take that step, right? It's almost like, you know, both of us have the absolute honor of leading in Mighty Men.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes you invite guys to Mighty Men, like, come be part of this group of men that are that are working towards God, that are working to become better, you know, men, fathers, husbands, right?
Yeah.
Business owners and employees. And it's just sometimes you can catch yourself wanting it more than they do.
Yeah. Because we know the change that it can make, and that's a big
We're
part.
living the change.
Right. But it's hard to be told, you're doing this wrong. You're doing this wrong. Oh, you got to do it better this way. That's not how we go about it. But I don't shake my finger if you come to Mighty Men. But at the same time,
that was good.
It's just, that's a great example, because just like you call me to sell your house, men show up for a change. But as soon as you work through that, you start to really question yourself and go through that process, that it can trigger some things. So same thing in real estate.
Oh, very much so. Very much so. Okay. So we got a little bit of what's going on. We've talked a little bit about, you know, life. Let's go into the prediction phase. Okay. And let's say just through 2026, what do you see happening with this real estate market?
So the first thing I can easily say is a much healthier market. And that's the word I'm using, because now we can make predictions all day long, because that's just really a data-based opinion. But we're so early on in the year that a lot of people thought 2025 was going to be better. And my question was to especially agents that I talked to, why? Show me what you're seeing for it to be better. I was praying hard and hoping that it was going to be better, but all the data that I base my opinions on and the way I advise people, there was nothing pointing to a better market. I'll give an example of a lot of people like, oh, 2025 is going to be way better. And I go, why? Appraisers have to go 365 days back. They can't go any further. But if you look 365 days back, 180 days back, or 60 days back from the beginning of 25, sales are terrible. Prices were lower. So if an appraiser has to base your purchase off of 2024, how can 2025 be a lot better? Not everybody's buying houses with cash. So an appraisal matters. That was just one small thing that I tried to coach agents on before they kept telling everybody it's going to be so much better. Well, no, valuations with banks go in the rears. And 2024 was bad because it came off of the height of the market. So 2026, we can easily show there was a small increase in 2025, a small change, but there wasn't a lot because rates 2024, 2025 were very comparable. And it just wasn't affordable for people. So it started to get a little better towards the end of 25. So now we have data that banks can use, appraisers can use, agents can use, that it was trending better, as well as the rate decrease. The lower the rate, the more buying power. The higher the rate, the less buying power.
Sure.
And we have more people having better inventory out there. So when you have more inventory, because a lot of builders prepped for this in 2023, 2024, and early 25 of buying land so they could build. They weren't doing it for last year because sales were so slow, but we all knew that the Fed was going to bring the rate down, and the hope is that buyers will come back out of the woodworks and start buying because they have affordability. So a lot of builders bought land to be able to build right now. So we're seeing more inventory. You have a lower rate with more buying power, and you have a ton of people that it's not that they did not want to buy, they couldn't. So what I've found is once the rates get at 6.2 and below, our phone rings a lot more. Because just with your standard W-2 employee and the wages, in our market, 6.2 and below starts to get affordable. So once we hit that 6 mark and 5.9 mark, we have a lot more activity going on. So just seeing those things in the first 2 months of 2026 shows that it should be a much healthier market. I mean, interest rates alone, that's the biggest catalyst to be able to purchase or not if it's affordable, and they're lower.
There you go.
That helps a lot.
So what I'm hearing is, as long as the Fed continues to do what they say they're going to do, which is continue to pull down the interest rate, and the builders stay healthy, then the market's going to have, I don't think we're going to have that massive upswing like we had.
No.
But
gradual.
It came down, and now we're going to kind of see it start to level out, right?
Yeah. small increases. And the other thing is, whether builders build or not, I think we're going to see, and this is strictly an opinion on my side of data that I have found. Whether builders build or not, I think we're going to have a higher influx of inventory for two reasons as well. One, unfortunately, foreclosures. A lot of people that bought during COVID had to spend so much money to get to secure that house over the other 500,000 people that wanted it, that it's no longer become affordable or feasible for them to stay in it. So we're already seeing more foreclosures come out, as well as you and I talked a couple weeks ago about the IRS 5-year rule. So a lot of people that had the 2% interest rates, well, let's say their family grew and they had to kind of buy another property, but they didn't want to let their 2% interest rate go, so they leased out their house. Well, there's a 5-year rule that you have to occupy as your primary residence, your home, and then the IRS will let you lease it out for up to 3 years, as long as it doesn't exceed a 5-year period, with 2 being your occupancy. And you don't have to pay capital gains tax. So even though it's an investment property that you're leasing out, as long as you stay in those parameters, you don't pay capital gains tax. You get to write it off like normal. But if you don't do that and you go past that rule, past that 5th year, then you're subject to capital gains tax, just like if you bought it as an investment. So a lot of people don't know about this rule. Well, hopefully all you CPAs are telling people about it, and we're starting to see people calling about that as well now. So they're going to have to make a decision. Do I keep this house for another 4 or 5 years to make up the profits in the capital gains tax? Or do we go ahead and sell it being the 5th year?
Right.
And not have to pay the capital gains tax. So we're seeing more inventory with that as well, because there was more second homes from 2023 to 2025 than ever. Because people had 2% interest rates and they bought a new house, but they didn't want to let that one go because they could actually profit. If you bought a house in 2024 or 2025, as an investor, I'd say, you can fact check me on this, but 90 to 95% of investors knew they were not profiting because their interest rate's so high and our rent rates weren't as high as what your mortgage was. So you're buying on a longer term equity based rather than an annual profit base. So you've got a lot of people now that are letting those go finally because they're not really landlords. A lot of the people that own 2 homes, they kept it because they can make a profit on a 2% interest rate. They didn't keep it because they want to start buying a portfolio of rental properties.
Correct.
And if they don't want to continue doing that, then a lot of those people are letting those homes go now because they don't want to pay the capital gains tax.
That's interesting because what that's going to do, that's a whole nother variable that comes into the market. Right. And it's not one, if you were thinking about this 3 years ago, you weren't thinking about that now. Now you also mentioned a word, and I'll call it the F word, because there's a lot of people who don't like it. You mentioned the word foreclosure. Please. So this is something that a lot of people get wrong. You know, they go through, they get their mortgage, they get their insurance, they get their taxes, and they completely max out the amount of home they can purchase. And then year 2 hits and taxes go up and your insurance is going to go up, and year 3 hits and your taxes go up and your insurance goes up, and year 4 hits, and so on. And is that what we're seeing? We're seeing just people just...
Yeah, a lot of that. And then I would say the biggest reason is literally you take a house right now that's valued at $500,000. Well, during COVID, you had to pay $700,000 or $800,000 to get that house. Well, if that's not the life that you lived, making that kind of income, yes, you had the ability to pay the extra cash above appraisal value, but is that suitable for long term? You know, did you get a raise? Are you able, as the taxes raise on that property because you're going off of your price, or as your insurance raises off of that property, when you bought it, were you able to own and securely live in an $800,000 house rather than a $500,000 house? Well, now we're years in, and a lot of people have found, hey, maybe this is living above my means, or hey, maybe we didn't expect all of the fees that go with owning a home, or the taxes, or the insurance increases, things of that nature, and it's better to move on rather than stay in.
Interesting. Man, well, Travis, I just want to say thank you for joining me here at the studio. This has been educational for me. I hope it's been educational for you. how we're going to end this is I'm going to do my 15 to 30-second elevator pitch.
Perfect.
And then I want you to do yours.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
You ready?
Sure.
Okay. So, hi, guys. My name is Nick. I'm with Kinetic Curve. And here at Kinetic Curve, we're an AI reputation management company. Right now, if you have a sign on the side of your building, no one sees it. They're so busy pre-programming their phone, their vehicle, and into where they're going to go, into their destination, they're driving right by you. Where you need to be today is on those maps, on those phones. And here at Kinetic Curve, we build out what we call Gabby. That's your Google, Apple, Bing, and Yelp. So that way people can find you on the phone. And then the sign lets them know that they arrived at your location. Travis, tell us about you.
I like it. So Travis Hitt, thanks for listening. I've been in real estate 13 years now, and I am here placed in this area specifically to help guide, advise, and serve to the best of my ability, but not only my ability, to the best of your needs. So if you are looking for a property to purchase, to sell, to invest in, whether it's commercial, land, or residential, I would love to get a call from you. I'm big on just having a conversation. There's nothing that locks you in, but I'm open to having a conversation and see how we can help guide and advise you to the best of our ability.
That's great. That's great. So, guys, thank you again for joining us today. We hope you have a great Tuesday, and I'll see you tomorrow with another guest.